Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, and Greg. Now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, it is the Big Biz Show inside the Loft 100 studios in sunny Southern California. As we like to say around this here parts right here, a big old howdy to ya. I'm Costa. That is Mary Bird Godwin.
No one ever said
that's our executive producer.
A big old howdy to you.
About ya. And that's Sully.
I got a theory about when you say these parts. These parts. What parts?
What defines these parts? I'm thinking it's that chair.
It's the real estate that you sit on.
Right.
Okay. I'll
around these parts.
Around these parts.
How much is municipal paying you for wearing their stuff every day? And how come we don't get a cut?
Now, where's my hoodie?
Where's my hoodie?
Where's my hoodie?
Anyhow, the Big Biz Show rolls on.
He's taking all the merch for
Speaking of not paying somebody, Greg came up with a great AI tool that we've now sold to Zoom for how many millions of dollars?
Many.
Many millions of dollars. It's called it's the Howie Font. It's the Howie Font hair background. If I'm not mistaken. Greg, what was your idea again?
Oh, his hair looks phenomenal today. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
Let's see how it is. It's totally great.
Yeah. Look at him. There he is. Yeah, see it is.
Look at that.
Whoa.
Look at that helmet.
Look how high it's going.
I'm sorry, Howie. I've been next to Howie, and that thing, like, there is more hair per dense, like, he's like a bear.
His hair has hair.
Yes.
The pompadour. Is that what that's called?
Pompadour, that's
and
right.
he's very particular about, like Greg has got perfect hair also.
Yep.
Like, you guys could go, well, let's be, well, you know,
Come on, please.
enough about me.
Stop.
What do you think about me? What was your idea? So the idea, I believe, Howie, was to get a...
Howie, what do you think? We take your helmet that you're wearing there, we make it a part. We make it a part of your virtual background, and then we shave your head.
and then,
So then as you're moving...
And we sell it to bald guys that want to act like that.
Right? So then as you're moving and shaking your bald head...
His ideas, they just keep on coming in Greg's head. You know, he just can't help them.
The forehead to a 5 head, or what is the purpose of it?
He's just, these ideas from Greg. This is why Greg wears the aluminum foil on his head, to keep the thoughts from coming in.
As Michael Keaton said, you feed the mayonnaise to the tuna.
That's exactly right. Hey, corn dog in your pocket. Corn dog. Okay, let's talk about, there's two big scams in the world that I think retailers have, but now we got a scam on our own. The scam in the world is gift cards. Because if you buy a gift card for somebody, okay, and you buy it from Sully and Greg's Tequila Factory, we sell $300 gift cards, but our tequila bottles are only $2.98. So they never use the $2. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how many unused dollars are spent every year on gift cards in the US? It's in the billions of dollars, okay, and that's how they get you. Yeah. And then they expire. But now now we have some revenge. It's buy now, pay never from the consumer side. Talk about, have you guys heard of Klarna?
Yes, it pops up all the time when I'm buying things.
Howie, talk to us about what's going on with this company.
Yeah, so Klarna and its competitor Affirm are, these buy now, pay later services that somehow, with their branding and the app layout that they have, they've been offering consumer credit with no fees. The app interface, easy checkout.
Kind of like the mortgage crisis we witnessed back in 2007.
Yeah.
Very similar.
So they had their company announcements this week, and they announced that their losses for the quarter were up more than 100%, more than a double, to just under $100 million. And excuse me. Amount because what they're financing now, they used to do like furniture and stuff like that.
Hold
but
on,
now
keep it right there for a second. We gotta stop down that for a second because there's such a teachable moment. When we come back from the break, I'm going to talk about $100 million loss. What that means, because there's a teachable moment here where it's a snapshot in time. Okay. However, it really is buy now, pay never. if they're down $100 million, I mean, at some point. Well, I mean, look at the U.S. government runs itself like that, so they're never going out of business. So.
Howie Font, he is our financial analyst here on the Big Biz Show. He's back after this, so are we. Don't go. the business, no lessons, self-taught. Back here at the bar, it's Costa Godwin, our executive producer is Greg Todorov, and of course, Sully.
Don't you think that Howie could have his own channel?
Yeah.
Or something like his own channel? Big hello to the Dictator Chair today. Hello, Mark Hattersley. How you guys doing over there?
Hey.
Good to see you guys. I'm for those of you who are seeing me for a second in a row in my hunter's cap. The reason is because I had some precancerous. I had my entire head chopped off and put back on. But I got this color to warn people as a warning. Hunters wear this as a hazard.
Don't shoot me.
Put your damn hat on. Because apparently this is a serious thing. You always think, skin cancer, schmancer. It's on my.
Do you ever sunblock your head when you go out if you're not going to have?
I do, but this is what I learned. SPF 10, okay, versus SPF 50.
Yeah.
Means it's not 5 times better. 50 is not 5 times better than 10. It means you have to reapply it every 10 minutes or every 50 minutes.
Yeah, it's the length.
It's the length of time you need to reapply it.
Really?
Yes, SPF 10 means you have to reapply it every 10 minutes.
What?
That's great.
That's SPF.
I never knew that.
Let me give you one other one.
Are we sure about this?
I'm positive of this.
We need to fact check.
Okay, fact check. Go ahead.
I will.
Fat check. I'm sorry, I was talking to Mike.
You are.
Let me say this, first of all. If you want to go with another idea, Greg, Mr. Idea guy, do you know the camouflage stuff that our military men and women use, the paint, has no SPF in it at all?
Oof.
SPF 10 is 100 minutes.
Okay, well, whatever. So what's
So
SPF?
maybe it's probably
Whatever it is.
chances are it's
the
times
length
10.
It's the length of time.
10 times 10.
Thanks,
Right.
Greg.
It doesn't have SPF.
I like to be
Welcome,
factual.
Greg, that guy, Todorov. And that guy comes from the Midwest. He's sensible. He's right most of the time. And I lean on him for most of my wisdom because after he lets me bloviate and yell and scream, he always says, okay, now can we actually talk real? That's what he does. Howie Font here, of course, is our analyst. And we're talking about... Now, I don't think I've used the Affirm thing or the Klarna thing. Like if you're buying I'm looking at a cold plunge for the house, okay?
Yes.
And they're like $4 or $5 grand. I don't want to go kick down that much money, but so I could see myself paying $10 a month for the next 400 months.
Okay.
That's sort of like,
Place.
is that what that is?
Right.
Howie, right?
I see it for just
No, that's what it is. So basically,
Sweaters.
It made sense at first because we had low interest rates, and you could buy a piece of furniture that costs $3,000, and you might not have the $3,000 and want to spend it, and have 0% interest rates. And Klarna was willing to give you a 0% rate, so no problem. It doesn't make any difference financially whether you do that or not.
But should we be? I mean, I understand.
Well, they rose the rates is the problem.
So it's interesting. There's two sides to the story, because there's 100 million users of Klarna, and there's almost as many users as Affirm. Okay, so how many people are in the country? Okay, how many? 350 million in the country.
Like that.
So we've got a third of the country, or half the country, using this almost between the two firms. Okay, people are taking these simple interface loans, is what they're called. Okay, because you go to pay, and you can do Apple Pay, you can do PayPal, or you do Affirm, and they're not. It's basically there's no due diligence, is there, Howie? I mean,
It's a couple clicks. It's pretty fast. No,
Is it more expensive though? I feel like it's more expensive to do that.
Yeah, you have to pay a little bit
You have to pay a little bit more
You have to pay a little
money.
vigorous, don't you?
So maybe there's not.
So they kind of incorporate these are new companies that are paying for users like a lot of the tech startups do. So when they have the low rates, they really are easy. They want people to be able to do it in just a couple clicks. So there's no sign up fee. There's no nickel and diming fees, but they get you in the rate. So they offered 0% for some things. That was fine when it was furniture, and now they let you buy Chipotle with it, and they charge you,
how in your Howie. I think we should put out a newsletter every day called Howie Bits, because he sends these over to us. And the last thing you say here is really, really telling. How strong is the U.S. consumer if they have to finance everything like this? I mean, isn't that the scary part of this thing? And what are we teaching our kids who are doing this all the day long?
Nothing
about that. And I can tell you, our own kids. Okay, what do you have, a 250-month-old?
271.
Yeah, 271-month-old. Mine's almost 283 months old. They're still asking questions like, "What was it like to?" They don't have checkbooks.
Nope.
Do you remember when you got a checkbook in your purse or a
course.
checkbook in your glove box?
For sure.
Yes. They don't
What
know.
is this checkbook thing?
They just see, oh, I can pay less. They don't know or have the financial literacy to know that that's not what they should be doing.
But neither did we when we took out a JCPenney card or a Sears card when we were 18 years old with a $300 limit and ran it up and paid $12 a month until you were 85. Right? I mean, it is an age-old sort of process here. Howie, are these companies going to be in business? Because if not, I'd rather put my money into DraftKings or Prize Picks, don't you think? I mean,
That's an interesting comparison. I think what you're really doing is kind of making the same bet. Are consumers going to over-consume and do the,
do the thing they always do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Exactly. Howard, thank you for your
I think
help.
those are actually in the same direction.
Appreciate you. All right, buddy. See you tomorrow. Howie Font.
much.
I think he needs his own channel.
I agree.
Do it. Let's do it.
And also needs Paul Mitchell endorsement.
Yes.
That as
Paul
well.
Mitchell,
That
that's
as
a
well.
pull.
Get him some moose.
I know.
You gotta have some in there.
Do they still use moose?
Have you got moose?
If they don't,
I
they should.
remember moose.
Oh, yeah, I
Just so
love
you can say I use moose.
I love
Okay,
it.
so-
Was so sticky.
I remember I had this crush on this girl that was cutting my hair when I was in college.
Rock and roll.
And she, and it was back in the day when you was had the Flock of Seagulls thing going, little business up top, party on the side, type deal, or vice versa.
Sure.
Greg, of course, sensible Greg, looked like Greg Brady back in the day with the $500,000 bank account. I recall moose at that point.
Oh, yeah.
And it was suddenly everybody had moose. I remember one time Rusty Nails wanted to prove a point on this program by saying he could use Ready Whip and have it do the same exact thing. Oh my God. For a tenth of the price. And it worked.
It worked?
If you take a little Ready Whip.
No way.
Probably wasn't good for your hair, but it worked.
Probably not.
But you know what? It worked for the club.
The ants
It
loved
For the
it.
club, and it was a tenth of the price. Because you get a can of Ready, $1.89. You can't buy a can of moose anymore for $112.
Holy crap.
Steve JJ Weisman, the Scam Man, is with us. Of course, he is scamicide.com. The Truth About Avoiding Scams is the first book I ever saw that he did. He's been with us for 20 years or better. As he likes to say, things aren't as bad as you think. They're far worse. He's a law professor. He used to be a llama owner. And of course, he is the Scam Man who runs Scamicide every day. Steve, I know this is not on your talking points today, but we were just talking to Howie, our analyst out of New York, about these firms like Klarna and Affirm that let you pay over time. I'm getting more and more emails from people that are spoofing those companies saying, here's an invoice for $25 that you haven't paid yet. And of course, many people, I better pay it.
Yeah.
That's an age-old sort of the fake invoice deal, right? That's sort of coming back, is it not, Steve?
It never really went away. The fake invoices are really a big problem. Particularly what happens is you get something from a company that you already do business with. And sometimes you'll even get it from a company that you do business with that you haven't had a recent charge with. I got that once. And you don't trust where it tells you to send the money. You don't trust the link. And in my case, what I did was I went to the website to get the real phone number. And right at the top of the website was, we didn't send you that invoice. It's a phony. So it's the old trust me, you can't trust anyone. You've got to confirm. Anytime you get an invoice, where you send it.
Is it still as simple as when you get an email looking for grammatical errors or looking at the email address that says XYZ123 at USSR.com or something like that? I mean, is it as simple as that, or are they getting better at this?
It's a combination of both. When I used to teach in the state prisons in Massachusetts, I used to actually tell my students that I advocated for greater sentences for particularly stupid criminals. And there are the stupid criminals out there, the ones that try and rob a bank and on the back of their own deposit slip. But it's the similar to where you'll get the email and it comes from a botnet. So I'm getting something that's from Amazon. It looks really like it's from Amazon, but the address, the URL of the sender is fredjones@stetson.edu, because that person's email has been hacked and used to send these out. Similar to what you're talking about, so many of the scams come from overseas and the grammar is horrible. An interesting one, if you're getting one from France, when we mention a figure, a dollar amount, we'll have the dollar sign in front of the number. In France, they have it behind the number.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of an indication. Unfortunately, AI has changed everything. And so the scammers can have perfectly grammatical pieces that they're sending out, and it looks really good. Making it even worse, there are some times where you'll get an email address that looks like it's from your bank or Amazon. And what they've done is they've used the Cyrillic alphabet, which is used for Slavic languages.
And
so
Mike's tattoos that say, today is the first day of the rest of your life. Stand by there, Steve. We're going to come right back to you here because I want to talk about this because I will tell you, this man has saved my kids more money and my parents more money. My parents called me the other day and said, hey, are you in Costa Rica? Do you need $5,000, Bob?
You got arrested again?
And when did you start calling yourself Mike Costa?
Steve JJ Weisman. More with him and more with us right after this. Big Biz Show rolls on. Southern California, it is the Loft 100 Studios. They are the Day Trader Trio. We are sitting over here at the bar. Costa, Mary Godwin, our executive producers, Greg Todorov, Sully with his hunting cap on, and we are visiting with the scam master himself, Steve JJ Weisman.
I have the hazard cone hat on because
it is hazard orange.
Because I got a real lesson in wearing sunscreen and wearing headwear. You know, all those rides we did with Challenge Athletes Foundation.
Oh God!
Even with a helmet, you're supposed to put it's not like a beanie, but it's like a cap on before you put your helmet on because the helmets are wide open. Most of my stuff was in the back of my head, like up here.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and so I had it removed, but it's a cost. Now, Mary, if people want to buy a Sullivan hat for the very popular on the radio now Sullivan Band, who's now starting to go on tour and everything else, if they want to buy these hats, where do they go?
SullivanMusic.com.
Okay.
We can, sell them right there.
All right, good. I think we should get some. Steve JJ Weisman, the scam man's with us. Steve, you were talking about how they're putting in the Cyrillic alphabet to some of these emails. Is that a masking device to get to you, or how is that working?
Yeah, how it works is, let's say you get something that looks like it's coming from Amazon.com. But it really, and the criminal is not going to be able to use Amazon.com. But when they use the Cyrillic alphabet, it doesn't come across as being not Amazon.com, and it looks just like it. First time I said something about this, I'm staring at it to make sure that I understand, and it took me a long time to really recognize it. So this is another way that they're able to make that email address look good. So anytime you're asked to click on a link, provide personal information, or make a payment, you can't trust that email, phone call, or text message. You've got to confirm.
Steve, are you still a counselor with the law offices of Vinny Gambini? I see it on your t-shirt right there.
I was hoping somebody would pick up on this. I went into Starbucks this morning and they said, "Oh, Steve, is that your law firm?" And I'm going, "No."
Yeah, Vinny the Elbow. Vinny Bag of Donuts Gambini.
Hey, talk about the T-Mobile data breach. I guess are they starting to pay that off now?
Yeah, this month, and they settled for about $315 million, and T-Mobile probably should have paid more than that. Yeah. T-Mobile's security was so poor; they suffered 4 data breaches in 6 years. You know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah. Right.
And that's the problem.
Fool me 3 times, it's Costa's fault.
Yeah. So people are only going to be getting about like a $25 check. Although in California, you get a $100 check. If you became a victim of identity theft because of this, you can bill them and get the cost of what it took you. But after these initial payments go out this month, there's going to be probably a second payment because they've got that $315 million. And if all of it doesn't get paid out, they're going to spread it among everyone. But the big lesson here is don't give personal information that you don't have to. T-Mobile didn't need your social security number, but they took it as an identifier and it puts you in danger.
Yeah, but you know what, Steve? You and I have talked about this 100 times. I remember the first day I bought my computer from Costco, or Price Club it was called, and I went to America Online, and I went to CompuServe, and said, here's my social, here's my mail, and here's my driver's license. And it's
my PIN.
From that first day, 40 years ago or 30 years ago, it's been in the ether the whole time. Yeah. I sort of feel like it's we're behind the 8 ball on that one.
On this subject, Stephen, what do you suggest people do if they do get a notification saying you've been involved in a data breach for whatever, T-Mobile or whatever company? Because I seem to get them periodically, and I think, oh, well, whatever.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I ignore it.
I ignore it.
Like, what do you do now? I just go change the password is all I do, right?
Yeah, you want to change your password. You want to monitor your credit regularly. You can do that actually for free weekly now. At one time, you could only do it once a year for free. So you do want to monitor that. You want to, in the future, kind of limit the personal information, including even your cell phone. It seems innocuous that you have to provide a cell phone, and so what? But if in a data breach, they get your cell phone, they can go to a number of these data aggregators, and from that, they can build on and get more and more information about you to focus scams against you. So it's a good idea if you have to use a cell phone as an identifier when you sign up for a site, get a burner phone and use that.
Hey, Steve, before we let you get out of here today, these two guys are married. Do you ever get online dating scams? Like, do you get stuff? I mean, yeah. I get emails all the time, and I'm not out there.
Yeah, well, they go to my spam.
But don't they?
Yeah.
Because you're on TV, you're a Vortex figure in San Diego, and do you ever get hey, I saw you on?
Yes.
It's amazing. Now I don't know why, other than maybe somebody's creating a false, what do they call it? Profile. So they can charge me? Is that because I see these online dating scams, and I realize there's people fishing for people to get some rich divorcee and steal her money or his money. But the other side though is when you see these fake profiles come up on Vortex figures. Like I saw, there was an article in oh my goodness, MarketWatch.com about George Clooney. Apparently had some marital problems, or they thought he was, and somebody saw him on Tinder. Well, it wasn't him, but it was really, really like. But the point is, what's the purpose of that? And I realize it's funny for that, but there's obviously a monetary purpose for these dating scams also, right?
They do it a couple of ways. First, after they build the relationship, there's some emergency, I need you to send me some money. And that was the old common way. Yeah. But now what you're seeing is they build the relationship, and then, you know what? I am making so much money in cryptocurrencies. Here's one I want you to sign up for, put your money in, and you're going to make a lot of money. Okay. And of course, it's entirely a scam. And now, with AI, at this point, there's actually using deep fakes. They can look like it's George Clooney that you're conversing with.
Oh, I see. I get it. That makes sense. Well, yeah, we just conversed with a robot yesterday, so exactly. I can tell you. Hey, before I let you out of here, you were the one person that introduced us to Charity Navigator, and I'm happy to say the Challenge Athletes Foundation is one of the top charities at Charity Navigator. But tell people why Charity Navigator is such an important resource if you're going to give some money away to a charity.
There are so many charity scams, and you don't know when you're contacted, whether it's by a legitimate charity or even if it's a so-called legitimate charity, how much are they taking for their own administrative costs and fees? So you go to charitynavigator.org. It's free. Look up the charity, and it will tell you first if it's a scam, and second of all, how much money that they're actually, when you give to a charity, how much of it goes to the charitable purpose. So
we got to dig into there, and maybe do the Razzie Awards for some of these charities like Mike Costa's Funyun opportunity.
Oh, when is that?
Kids in Ethiopia need Funyuns. Send them to me. I'll send them to them.
Steve JJ Weisman, scamicide.com. Check it out. Save yourself some pain. More importantly, save yourself some money and save yourself some time for more of the Big Biz Show, because it's coming right back. know the rest of the song.
You say more butter?
Pretty good, huh?
Nope.
Damn it! I think I was off, Trace. That's the part I was waiting for.
Here we go. Here we
Just
go.
it. Are you? Oh my God! Tell me the things you're gonna do me.
Yeah, we'll take it, Mariana. You sound like Julia Childs doing Doobie Brothers. More butter. I mean, honest to goodness, you sound like Julia Childs. I know what yacht rock does to you.
Love yacht rock.
But
I do too.
you know,
Well, we hadn't rehearsed at all. I mean, it was just spur of the moment.
although you know,
Sorry.
what is a song that you do? You do a song though. What
Spanish Eyes.
Well, you'll blow Spanish Eyes.
We think we retired that song, didn't
Oh,
we?
apparently.
Well, Mary had retired it, but James, who apparently plays with the former drummer or current drummer of Ambrosia.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we might be ripping out a little Ambrosia.
Ooh,
I
I'm
like
down with
big
that.
butts, and I cannot lie.
That too. Wow. That too.
Casey Kasem's coming back. Have you heard Have you heard the outtakes of Casey Kasem when he's cussing like a sailor in between?
No.
The dedication of the dead
Like
dog.
big butts, and I cannot.
I'm tired of this. I'm sick of
Casey Kasem didn't curse.
Oh, he. That's one of the biggest outtakes in the history.
Look up Casey Kasem dead dog dedication.
Yeah, dead
No,
dog dedication.
seriously? Okay.
Another damn dead dog dedication. No, honestly, it's because remember he used to. I'm Casey Kasem.
Yeah.
Now back to the countdown.
Then back to the countdown. And
I
this,
listened to
this
him.
letter comes from James East in San Diego, California.
That's pretty good.
And then he goes, "Are you kidding me? Another damn dead dog?" And it was serious. Like
He snapped.
Oh, he snapped. He snapped with the dead dog dedication.
I wanted
Yeah.
one of my dedications read. It never was.
Did you ever? I remember.
Probably yes.
Did you ever call into a radio station?
Oh gosh, yes, all the time.
Have you ever? Me and Mike made a living in talk radio, whereby
We hated you.
the phone. No, I wouldn't say that.
Never.
For my talk radio, I loved callers because I was news talk and
and mine
political
too.
talk.
But I'll be honest with you.
But the point is, I thought to myself, I've never ever called a radio station.
I did to win. I got Indigo Girls tickets.
You won?
Yeah, it was literally 5 a.m. and nobody was. I was at work early in the morning. And I
Nice.
got VIP tickets. I'm at the Indigo Girls.
Etiquette.
Came up.
Our next guest, Dr. John Yu, I really enjoy having him on the air for a number of reasons. Number one, he's the CEO of a publicly traded company called Kairos Pharma, Kappa, K-A-P-A is their ticker symbol. But he's also an MD and I remember the one time speaking to him or trying to talk to him off air about what we're going to talk about on the air, and he says, I'm getting out of a case. In other words, he's a surgeon. He's
Yeah.
the tip of the spear.
Wow.
And he joins us here on Big Biz Show. John, how are you, sir? Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you guys.
I have to ask you in terms of, because last time you were on the air, we got so many people talking about neuro-oncology, neurosurgery as it relates to lung cancer, as it relates to prostate cancer. Like, how does someone in your position sort of have this enterprise-wide solution view of what you're trying to cure there at Kappa? Because it's pretty interesting about what you do for a living versus what you guys are doing as a biopharma company.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the difficult parts of what I do is, telling people they have cancer, and it's, it's a horrible, horrible situation for them, and, but it's even more horrible when the tumor comes back and, I have to tell them their cancer has become resistant to the drugs we're treating them with. And so what we're trying to do is bring hope to that situation. And when patients have recurrences, our drug is designed to reverse the resistance that the cancer has developed to that cancer drug. And it's a widespread situation, from prostate cancer to lung cancer to brain cancers and head and neck cancers. So I hope that by doing that, we can give people hope that their drugs can work and revive it like a phoenix coming out of the ashes.
Hey, John, I have to ask you, talk about exactly the therapies we're talking about that are leading there for Kappa and Kairos Pharma.
Yeah, so our lead therapy is EMV-105, which is a drug that reverses resistance to anti-androgen drugs. much like the drugs that President Biden's going to be on, with his recent prostate cancer diagnosis. So, the first line therapy is these anti-androgen drugs to bring down the hormones that drive prostate cancer. And these drugs work great until they don't. And so they work pretty well for about a year or a year and a half, and then they stop working. And so our drug is designed to come on top of that drug, make it work again for a longer period of time.
Dr. John Yu is the CEO of Kairos Pharma. Their ticker symbol is KAPA. Dr. Yu, you mentioned Biden in the prostate cancer diagnosis. Do you think, and we're not going to get political on the show, but do you think he's had this for a lot longer than we're led to believe? And when you're his age and you get that diagnosis, what are his chances for I guess for lack of a better term, a full recovery?
Yeah, it's a very complicated situation in that, the recommendation right now is to stop testing once you're above the age of 70.
Okay.
And he's well beyond that in his 80s. And the reason is that oftentimes PSAs or the protein of the prostate often goes up. And actually prostate cancer is common in people in their 80s. About 50% of patients have prostate cancer at that point. But usually it's slow growing and indolent. So most men don't need treatment at that point.
Okay.
In President Biden's case, it was very aggressive. And so the question is, why wasn't he tested earlier, given his political prominence and so forth? And, it's a loaded question of whether it's worth getting the diagnosis early and getting treatment, even though the treatments can often be even more, aggressive and painful to deal with than the cancer itself.
Can I ask you this? Can we talk about on television the symptoms of that? I mean, how did he find out, or was it just a simple blood test and stuff?
Well, he had problems with urinating, and he has benign prostate hypertrophy, which makes urinating difficult. But when he had a fast-growing cancer, it was even more difficult, and they found a nodule, and that's what led to his diagnosis. And at that point, it was very aggressive and had gone to his bone as well. And so now we're dealing with a pretty aggressive a cancer that's metastasized in a stage 4 situation.
So when it metastasized to bone, is that a death sentence necessarily? Or
not necessarily, because it just means that's the most common place for prostate cancers to go to, and there are drugs that treat it, like anti-androgen therapies. But like I said, people become resistant to this therapy, just like many other cancer therapies. And so our drug is designed to reverse that and make patients, respond to the therapy again. And so, we hope that this can bring new hope to patients when, they've failed their therapy, which, previously had worked so well.
So, Dr. Yu, can you tell me, is ENV 105, is that something that this therapy you're discussing, can people in different stages of their cancer, if someone has stage 1, can they still use it and or someone in a stage 4 situation?
Yeah, it's usually for metastatic prostate cancer, like what President Biden has. And so it's for the more aggressive cancers, because that's the point when, these anti-androgen drugs are used, and then patients become resistant to it. So, yeah, I would say our drug is for, the most aggressive types of prostate cancer that, like the one that President Biden has.
Hey, Dr. Yu, before we let you out of here today, what's next for you guys in this FDA arc of this story that we're looking at here on the screen here? What's anything happening imminent here? And by the way, you'll be happy to know that I had a bunch of precancerous stuff taken off my head on Monday, which is why I'm wearing the hunting hat. And the reason I'm wearing the yellow, the orange color, is to warn people: put your damn hat on, because skin cancer is a real thing.
Absolutely.
But
melanoma is one of those cancers that there's been dramatic improvements in care. In fact, when I went to the meeting, the cancer meeting, and some of these drugs were announced, I mean, it's made such a difference in patients' lives that brought tears to my eyes.
Well, what's interesting, John, is that they removed like 1,000 things off the top of my head, and they were all invisible.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the freckles. And, I've got a mole on the side of my head that looks like a heart that everybody thought and it wasn't, it's not that. It's not the little barnacle that grows on your arm. It's the invisible stuff, and that's why you have to have a checkup pretty often. Talk about the FDA and what's going on with the rest of the year.
Yeah, so, we're in the middle of a phase 1 and phase 2 trial. We'll have our safety data coming out near July, and our efficacy data for the safety cohort coming out in September. I think that will make a significant impact and tell us where the trial is going. And then, this should lead towards, a discussion with the FDA once the trial is completed about where to go next.
Dr. John Yu is the CEO of Kairos Pharma. Ticker symbol is KAPA. Doctor, thank you for that kind of in-depth look at what's going on with President Biden, because it's such a huge story, and there's so many different stories out there concerning that. Thank you for the insight. Always, thank you for joining the show. Can't wait to talk to you again.
Thank you, Mike. It was a pleasure.
All right. Keep it right here. There's much more to come with the Big Biz Show. Do not go anywhere. Hey, man. Wherever you're watching or listening, man, it is the Big Biz Show, eh? We're inside the Loft 100 studios.
What do they say in these parts?
Also known as
howdy to ya.
A big old howdy to you, man. Jamaica West.
What is going on?
Big Biz Show rolls on.
Are you allowed to do that now? Are you allowed to culturally appropriate a Rastafarian?
Oh, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sound like you hear that whatever Mark was playing over there. It sounded like it was right at Finding Nemo. Oh, what is that? What are you playing?
Hey, yeah.
Doesn't it feel like don't you feel like a pineapple drink?
It really does.
Like I really feel like
It's like we're on the Lido deck of the Love Boat. Just kind of hanging out.
Wow.
Speaking of which, did I tell you about the Cali Country cruise that the Sullivan Band is going to be?
Go on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
really,
2026.
We are headlining next year on a 3-day, 3-hour cruise. 3-day cruise from LA to Ensenada, Mexico.
Oh, how fun!
You got to go on that. That's like
I'll be a roadie.
That's like.
I can't imagine you on a cruise. On a 3-day, cooped up on a cruise? Like,
oh,
nothing
that's
able
true.
to leave?
You've heard of ladies' night?
Right themselves.
You've heard of taco night? This is hard liquor and handgun night.
On a cruise.
On a
3
cruise.
nights.
On a cruise ship.
Sir, you're not supposed to have a weapon on the boat.
Hey, is Allan Evans at some hoity-toity event for Unusual Machines?
It's not hoity-toity. I'm at the big drone conference. So I'm in Houston, the big industry conference. Like all the drone companies are here.
By the way, you're our new
just
announcer.
trying to get deals done.
You're a new announcer for the entire network.
Oh
Did you
my
hear his
God,
voice?
Allan, those pipes.
He smoked 3 cigars and was out late last night.
How else are you supposed to get a deal done? There are rules.
Allan Evans is the CEO of Unusual Machines. Of course, their ticker symbol is UMAC.
So tell me, I love it when you guys, and I say you guys, when companies call in from when they're at conference events, because this is not only about pitching you guys as a publicly traded company, but it's about selling stuff. And you don't realize what's going on in your town. And here in San Diego, we're a big convention town. Oh, yeah. Houston, of course. Las Vegas. So you have this little secret pocket going on over there, where you are actually at an event showing off what you guys do. What's going on over there?
Yeah. So this is where all the commercial companies are showing up, and we have a lot of our parts here, and you get to meet your partners. And I think this is where a lot of deals get started. Is, oh, hey, brainstorm, boom. Oh, we need this. You have it. So it's pretty neat, and it's a little bit different this year. So the last several years, this event has had DJI, that Chinese company, in a lot of the different booths with software and stuff. And they're weirdly absent. So there's this whole new set of what do we do? How do we figure it out post-China? And that's been really interesting, and a lot more interest than even I expected for what we're doing here. So it's been really good.
I have to say, I read an article in U.S. News and World Report, and then there was also another article in Market Watch about the ban on T-Motors. Talk about that. What is that? What was I reading, and why does that matter to us?
Yeah, so T-Motor is a company that makes these really good small motors for drones, and the U.S. government sanctioned them in January, so we basically can't send any more money over there. And that's one of the things that has caused a lot of the US suppliers to be like, oh, okay, where do we buy motors from? And we're in the process, we just did that raise of building out not just a global motor supply chain. So we already have non-Chinese motors, but a big motor factory in Orlando. And we expect that to be online about the time where our customers need motors to keep their supply chain going. So a lot of critical technologies now, you're seeing China's banning the export of magnets. We're banning their motor company. We see this in drones, and we're seeing it and have seen it in semiconductors with the CHIPS Act. And I think it's just going to get more pronounced rather than less pronounced for any of these critical technology areas, especially after the whole solar farm thing.
Well, and
where they found that stuff.
And Allan, this is what's interesting is that as a drone component manufacturer, and watching what's happening with the military and every other application for drones. In fact, I just put my house up for sale. What do I see? 3 drones in the sky taking pictures of my property. I mean, in every corner, it's almost like the iPhone in terms of prevalence. But what's interesting, what's caught the attention not only of this TV network but of other people watching you, is that you're the only pure play U.S. company, and that's a pretty big deal right now in terms of you are a pure play U.S. drone component company. How many companies can say that? I don't think any. I think you're the only one, are you?
Definitely none that are public. I mean, there are a few that are private that do some other parts, and we have great relationships with them, and some of their parts go with some of our parts on some of the drones. But we're definitely the only public pure play drone.
When you think about that, you think about supply chain, you think about tariffs, you think about bringing manufacturing back to the U.S. There wouldn't be a Rust Belt if there was more companies like you. And I think, was that a risk for you when you first started off on this, saying we're going to be pure play U.S., or were you forced into that corner?
No, it was a risk. Hey, the only way to win when you're a small company is to make some assumptions about the future and go after it like they're true. And we made the assumption that the U.S. was going to try to consolidate the supply chain more, and there might be some challenges with China. That was an assumption we made a year and a half ago. We went all in, and it happened faster than we expected. So we're still running as fast as we can to catch up. But no, there's definitely a risk that assumption was wrong, and probably wouldn't be on this show. I'd probably be trying to figure out how to get out of bankruptcy. But since we were right, I look smart.
Allan Evans, CEO, Unusual Machines, ticker symbol is UMAC. Allan, to that point about the tariffs, they're on, they're off, they're postponed, they're back on, they're off again.
How do you plan around?
Yeah, how many plates are you spinning on stage right now as you deal with that?
Trust me, you cry a little, because it's not only that they're on, they're off. You place orders 4 to 6 months in advance.
Oh, God.
Then they're on, they're off. I think about supply chains like a long hose. Yeah. A garden hose is 200 feet long. And so you're over here and you got to turn the water on and off, and it has to go all the way through the hose. But tariffs are where it comes out. So sometimes you just get sprayed if they show up. And that uncertainty makes long-term planning really hard. So, I would say we're dealing with well by onshoring a bunch, which is great.
Okay.
Yeah. Before I let you get out of here, let's face it. We are 1 month away from being at the half point of the year. For you guys, what are we pivoting at all? Are we focusing on something different than we thought at the beginning of the year? Are we starting to plan for next year?
So what it looks like is the next assumption that we'll make, just come out with it, is that government money for drones is going to turn on pretty hard. I'm still thinking that August, September timeframe. And when that turns on, it's just go full speed. So we're positioning now to build out the motor factory, to set up our supply chain and everything. But I think the demand signals are going to be bonkers.
We're talking
I think
Pentagon.
The cash is going to come after it.
Pentagon budget stuff you're talking about, correct?
Yeah, Pentagon budget stuff. You're seeing the budget almost come through, and I think you're going to see really big orders. There's a new program that closed in May, which we expect to be awarded to some different vendors, called PBAS, which is for the U.S. government's version of basically the drones they're using in Ukraine. That's expected to be pretty big. Drive a bunch of companies, drive our category, along with just a whole push really from that to build out. When the money goes to the drone companies, that comes to the supply chain.
Buddy, we got to get you out here in San Diego. I could do a whole show on talking about supply and demand and supply chain manufacturing.
And bring your box of cigars too.
Thanks, bud.
Allan Evans, CEO, Unusual Machines, ticker symbol is UMAC.